Alright, so we're going to be watching why Indians have zero civic sense.
Dude, like we've been doing financial videos for 2 years now. And what's the point? The point is not to get financial freedom to buy things. It's to have peace of mind and be happy. But how can you be happy? When you're driving, suddenly someone cuts you off and insurance premiums rises, tumhara, mera, because he's a rash driver. And then I was taking a turn, someone actually threw garbage and our tax paying money will be used to actually pick it up. So today I'm going to talk about something that we have not. How civic sense actually affects us in more ways than you think. Our happiness and also how it's affected financially.
In India?
Let's do this. Roll. What's civic sense? It's an unsaid rule where you learn by looking at other people on how to behave in public, how to care for the environment, the community, people around you, being polite. But unfortunately, we, Indians, lack civic sense.
A lot. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. So from what I've seen in the streets,
We did a fun experiment. You see this area over here near the office is quite dirty. So we got it completely cleaned. Chaka-chon, very beautiful, spick and span. And this other side of the
actually in
road was
India.
actually quite dirty as well. What we did was we sort of added a little bit of litter. And then we observed for a few days on what actually happened. And the result will actually shock you. But you know, a lot of my friends living abroad say that Indians don't have civic sense because of education. Now, near our office, everyone's obviously educated. That's why there are offices, right? And this place is dirty. So clearly, it's not education. It's something else. So I found 3 interesting things of why this is happening and how it's affecting us economically and, well, just our happiness. The first one is tragedy of the commons. This is when you see someone throwing out garbage to keep his car clean or the house clean at the expense of the society. When humans exploit
That makes sense,
shared
actually.
resources for their own benefit and basically everyone else can't use that resource, that is tragedy of the commons. And what's more shocking is that recently there was a yoga day organized in Vizag, a community event where you can come, learn yoga, perform yoga, good for your health, great for the community. But everyone did this. They ran and started stealing the yoga mats, literally snatching it from each other. But you know what's even more sad? The yoga mats were actually free anyway. So all you had to do was queue up and everything was there for you anyway. And that's the sad part. You see, when the community is incentivized to break the rule, as in when someone breaks the queue, he gets the benefit, someone steals the mat, he gets the mat, and nothing happens, that's when tragedy of the common becomes worse because everyone is incentivized to break the rule. And then we have road accidents. In 2022, India witnessed 4.6
I hope you know that this can happen to literally any country. This can be every single country that we see as good. For example, Japan, they have like good manners in a way, I would say. They're known for that. The US, not as much as Japan, but we have like common decency that we know like one not to throw away and to pretty much not throw massive amounts of trash like outside in a park, for example. But if we had as much people as they do in India, this would be way worse. I believe that every nation could end up like India in the sense that if every man for themselves just kind of like make it.
accidents. In 2022, India witnessed 4.6 lakh
It was that 461 312. What does that even mean? There's an extra comma right there. Who wrote this?
road incidents. That's almost 500,000, and that took 1.7 lakh lives. The thing is, out of this 1.7 lakh deaths, 1.2 happened due to overspeeding. This means that these deaths could have easily been avoided. I'll tell you one more
Why
thing.
did they write numbers like that?
We were in Italy recently, and I'm absolutely not comparing our country with another country, but when we were there and I saw 60 kilometers and it was an open highway, I could have easily touched 120, but because I was outside and everyone was following the rule, I stayed at 55. And can you imagine, this side was completely free, nobody overtook me because it was not considered good civic sense over there. And then we have the best of all,
He's almost
theft. And let's take an example of, say, the
flash.
railways. We love taking trips in trains, right? There was actually a lot of theft in trains, as you can imagine. I'm talking about bulbs, pillows, cloth, linen, the mugs. Anything basically you can pick up was stolen, and this was 260 crore rupees in 2022. And how does this affect us? Well, one, it contributes to the losses of the Indian Railways, which means fares will go up. All of these costs will be passed on to you, the taxpayer. You will have to pay a higher fare because someone stole something. But you know, the tragedy of the commons is only one aspect of civic sense. Another aspect is actually the broken window problem. So let me give you an example. Imagine you go into Delhi Metro and we sent part of our crew. We said just record the place and see if someone is eating or has any kachra in their hand and just try to record them. You'll notice they don't throw or litter across the Delhi Metro, and it's actually really, really clean and well organized. But the same person, once he goes down, exits the Delhi Metro, walks on the street, throws it on the street. Another example is a normal railway. You enter a bogie, you'll see someone eating peanuts, and then they eat the peanut and take the chilka and throw it right there. And they do this because everyone else is doing it. No one stops them, they don't stop anyone, and they say, koi aur aake saaf kar dega, it's their job. And this is called the broken window theory. Basically, if there's a broken window, people find it okay if another one breaks. But if something is pristine and beautiful, people want to maintain it. And this is not just about our country getting dirty and we're complaining about it. It also affects our health. 40% of all plastic is thrown on Indian streets. This blocks drains and floods in our streets during monsoons. It becomes a breeding ground for diseases. It harms street animals because they're the ones who eat the trash, and it pollutes the soil, water, and enters our food chain because that waste just hardly gets cleaned. Now, I know you'll think that when something is dirty in a public place, the government is supposed to clean it, but we can't blame the government for our lack of civic sense, right? I mean, look at this example here. Street food falls on the street, and they go pick it up and throw it in the dustbin, and the place is clean again. If this happened and you're eating, will you actually bend down, pick up that wet waste food and throw it in the dustbin? Another tragedy is tourism. The largest concern of travelers trying to come to India as tourists is, I'll get sick. And you'll also go on the internet, you'll find hundreds of videos with millions of views where they're showing how dirty India is. And that means other foreigners also think India is dirty, and this is really embarrassing for us. Think about the negative.
I feel like as an American, if you ever have someone talk about India, there's a couple of people like going around in, TikTok or just on the streets, and then they ask them, what do you think is the dirtiest country in the world? And because of the videos that we see of tourists that go into those countries, and they see that the way the streets look like, they record it, they post it, Americans see it, and we're able to see that India is pretty dirty because of that. We have clear proof of what tourism would look like if you were to go there.
What is the dirtiest country in the world?
India?
It's not India. That's a good guess, though. Give me one more guess.
It's definitely India.
We see India as dirty because it is dirty. So yes, it does look bad because it is bad.
Negative impact it has on our country. People don't want to travel and tourism takes a hit.
Big hit.
So I don't know what the solution to this is, but I found something crazy. As children, we're not really taught to clean up our own mess. Think about it. When you eat your food or if there's something dirty, there's either the kaam wali bai at home to pick that up for you and wash the dishes, or it's mummy. You don't have in your brain a thought that मुझे उठा के इसको साफ करना है because it is outsourced to someone else. And a second reason is more embedded in our history. If you look back at India, our society has been divided into this hereditary kind of structure where cleanliness has been outsourced to a different part of society, a marginalized part of society, which does the cleaning. So because someone else is supposed to do the cleaning, all of us don't have a shared responsibility of public ownership of cleanliness. And this is called the endowment effect. The moment you feel shared resources are your own, you start to take care of it. Let me give you an example of Japan. So over there you'll see छोटे बच्चे actually going to school all on their own, and once they're in school they'll even clean their classrooms because it's ingrained in their culture that this shared space is my space. So they actually care about it. So when they grow up, naturally the entire population thinks of their city, their country as their own, and not belonging to somewhere else. Therefore, they take care of its cleanliness and other things. In India, if you're following the rules, you'll get awkward stares. At least it's happened with me. Now let's start with solutions, but I need you to post your solutions before you hear these so we can actually compare notes in the comments. First one starts with Coldplay. So, a friend of ours went to Ahmedabad for the Coldplay concert. And I'm sure you've heard of those moon glasses, right? Which make things look all cool. So there were 1.5 lakh people going over here and they thought they might not get the moon glasses. So they went to this one guy who had it and there were like 100, 200 people there. And our teammate is telling us that everyone is reaching out and saying, "Mujhe glasses de do." The organizer shouts at the top of his voice saying, "Not a single person gets these moon glasses until you form a clean queue." Everyone formed a single file line and they stood and everyone got those glasses. This is enforcement. Once you enforce, people will do, and you do not incentivize bad behavior. You incentivize good behavior. We need this from the government and us from each other. The second is,
So the thing is that for India, I think is just too far gone in the sense that it will take a long time to take this mentality out of 900 million people or a billion people that have this mentality to just throw things away in the street and change their mentality into clean up after themselves. It will take, I would say, at least a decade because you will have to like reteach the youth and just kind of like change the entire generation. I think that over time it is possible, but in like 1 or 2 years, I don't see that as a realistic goal. If you're trying to change India's mentality of cleaning up after themselves instead of just throwing things out.
the second is contacting your municipality. If you have an area which needs to be cleaned, they are managing a really large area, inform them, tell them, and you will see something happening. You should actually take shared responsibility of everything around you and you can actually affect it. For example, Noida in Delhi actually has an app where you can inform them when something is dirty or something needs work and it reaches the correct authority. I mean, that's amazing, right? Before we move to point number 3, I want you to guess what happened to our experiment over there. So the results of the experiment are not surprising. The place which was actually dirty became a little more dirty and the place which was clean continued to be clean. We did not nudge anyone over here to do anything. If someone makes fun of you, you should actually be the change. And I'm not saying this as this boring philosophical ending. I actually have an interesting story here. Swati and I used to stay in this area in Noida where there was a playground. And the playground obviously had lots of children. And there were 6 puppies. Now these 6 puppies were complete strays and the kids were actually kicking each puppy. And the puppies were crying. And every time a boy kicked and the puppy cried, everyone clapped and laughed. So we actually did something simple. We didn't say anything to the humans. We went to the puppies, put them on our lap and started cuddling them. The puppies quickly went to us and they felt safety. And the children said something amazing. They said,
आप इनको तो बच्चे की तरह ट्रीट कर रहे हो.
Swati says,
ये बच्चे ही तो हैं.
and the same kids who were kicking actually squatted down and started petting and started saying alle 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 alle, and their behavior changed in seconds. And I realized humans are exactly the same. The moment you show them what's correct and everyone agrees, because everyone is doing the right thing, everyone continues to do the right thing. So the change actually starts with you.
That's actually a very informative video about India because, yeah, it does make sense, everything that he said, and it does take a lot of people to make a change. It was a good video, but I will still not be visiting India anytime soon, at least.